So today we're going to be showcasing a build that I used to use back when, I want to say, Seekers were the meta, and they nerfed them after a while, but Seeker builds are still pretty strong if you build them right. And in this build, I'll be showing you guys how to do that. Man, it's been a while since I ran Seeker builds, and I forgot how powerful they are if you build them right, because the trick with them is you hardly ever want them on cooldown, because the shorter the cooldown, the more times you can use them. And if they're hitting hard and they come back fast, that's all you really need with Seekers. Spamming them is key, and I'm seeing, as you guys seen in this gameplay, holy, these bad boys are amazing. And I think a lot of you guys will actually enjoy the build as you guys see more gameplay. But let's get into the build, and hopefully you guys will try this out for yourself. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So for the build, we are going with the specialization of Demolitionist, and this is to give us that more explosive damage. Now you can run the Technician class if you don't, and that gives you that 10%, but we are running with the grenade launcher because since we do have skill damage and explosive damage on this build, we're definitely gonna get hit hard with our grenade launcher, which is at 2.7 mil. So if we ever have to use it, well, we can. And it's always fun to use this alongside your Seekers and your turret. So that is what we are running with this build. For the weapon, we are running the capacitor. This is probably one of the best skill weapons to use with skill builds. You guys want to use this. It gives you the most bang for your buck, especially if you're running all yellows like me. The talent on here, for each yellow skill tier, you gain 7.5% weapon damage, so you're still going to hit pretty strong. And not only that, the 40 stack gives you that 1.5% skill damage. Now that is why this is probably the best. If you don't have this, then obviously the test subject is probably going to be your next best bet, or something with in sync. But remember, the test subject will give you perfectly in sync, so that's 40% extra skill damage versus regular in sync, which is only 30%. So if you have the test subject and you don't have the capacitor, well, you can use that. If you have the capacitor, definitely use that. Those are the two you want to run there. For your secondary, it doesn't really matter. I'm not even using it. Primary is the main one you need to use with this build. For the mask, so you can see that we are running 4-piece hardwire. Yes, not a lot of people actually run hardwire anymore. It isn't as strong as it used to be, but it's still pretty powerful if you pair it up with the right rolls and with the right builds. So the 2-piece, remember, gives us 15% skill haste. 3-piece gives us 15% skill damage. And then look what the 4-piece does, feedback loop. Whenever you use a skill or cancel a skill, your other skill cooldown is automatically reduced by 30 seconds. So the trick with this build is trying to have your skill cooldown less than 30 seconds. Now, skill damage and repair is increased by 10% for 20 seconds. Now, you can only use the feedback loop every 20 seconds unless you use the backpack talent, but we're not using that. So that's how we have it. We have skill tier, skill damage, and skill haste mod on the mask. So for the chest, we're running with 1-piece China Light for that 15% explosive damage. We have the 1 skill tier, we have status effects, skill damage, and skill haste on here. Remember, because we are using the mortar turret, that's going to cause a status effect on the enemy. Now, if you just want to have less skill cooldown time, well, then you could put skill haste there. So we have status effects, skill damage, skill haste, and then we have the talent skilled. Skill kills have a 25% chance to reset skill cooldowns. So this also gives us another chance to instantly get our skills back, right? Because there is nothing keep capping this off. So it can happen, but it's 25% of the time. It definitely happens a lot. As you guys saw in that gameplay, it was happening more than not. For the holster, we have our 2nd piece of hardwire. We have skill tier and skill damage. For the knee pads, another hardwire. This is our 3rd piece, skill tier, skill damage. For the gloves, another hardwire piece, skill tier, skill damage. And then for the final piece, I went with the wyvern wear, so it gives us that 10% skill damage, so we hit a little bit harder. We have skill tier on here, skill damage, skill haste, and a skill haste mod. And then look at the talent, tech support. Skill kills increase total skill damage by 25% for 20 seconds. Now, I always feel like with explosive builds, it's always the best one, because as soon as you get that kill, you never really have to worry about keeping tech support up, because your skills are going to get those kills, right? And if we can consistently have our Seekers, this just goes hand in hand. And that's why I think having a backpack talent versus the hardwire backpack talent, which just reduces the feedback loop from 20 seconds to 10 seconds, is definitely better. Now, the backpack talent is also a really good one, so you can swap that out if you want. and then change the chest speed talent. But this is how I ran mine, and I think a lot of you guys will enjoy it this way. Remember, there are a couple different ways you guys can run the hardwire. Now let's get into the skills. So we are running the Seeker Mine, but we are running the cluster. Look at the cooldown, 29 seconds. So that means every time we do proc our talent, right, on the 4-piece hardwire, we're gonna get our Seekers back because it's under that 30 seconds, right, because it cools down. There are 10 mines on this one. The blast radius is 2 meters and then 3 million damage. So hits pretty solid, definitely really good. We have a 4.9% damage mod on here, an extra cluster mine, and then another 4.8 damage mod here. So damage all throughout plus that extra cluster to give us 10 mines total. Now we pair this up with the turret, and we're doing the artillery turret that you can only get with a demolitionist class, and the cooldown on this is 10 seconds. Now look at the damage, 3.5 million, ammo 10, and then it does have bleed damage of 63,000. Now, if you look right here, we have 10% damage that you only get from a demolitionist. We get the 1 extra mortar turret you only get from demolitionist. And then we also have a 6.2% skill haste mod. So ideally, this is how you guys want to have this build set up. If you guys want to effectively continue to have those mortars and those seekers. And I'm telling you, this build, solo group play, is amazing because you're constantly launching those turrets out there, you're constantly throwing seekers out there, and if you can continue to get those, you can clear rooms out. And if you pair this up with somebody who's running the BTSU gloves, this build just gets that much better. So if you guys run this with the team, it's definitely going to be better. Just have that person run a BTSU, maybe even something like the fire build that I ran with the BTSU gloves, and it just helps out everybody, and it will help out your skills. And I'm showing you guys solo gameplay. I'm having a ton of fun with this, and I think a lot of you guys will. The armor on this is only 726,000 damage. I'm staying in cover, all yellows throughout the build, as you guys saw. That's all you guys need. Stay in cover, play it well, and I think you guys will enjoy it. If you guys enjoy the builds, remember, leaving a thumbs up helps me out. If you guys have any suggestions, any questions, comment section down below. But I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, hey, nothing but skills out. Take it easy, everybody.